Hi everyone and welcome to another Isbista Financial Services video update. As you can see, we're doing a very high-end video update with all the most fanciful equipment. So the thought behind this video update is I've been given some feedback recently that suggests that I'm not a fan of property investment. So I wanted to lay that to rest that I am a big fan of property investment. Property investment should make up parts of everybody's portfolio. It just depends on how you own them. So I wanted to talk about why property investment is such a good investment compared to a share portfolio. And I thought the best way to do that was to actually give everyone an example of a property investment portfolio, or a property investment versus a share investment portfolio. So I'll start with the simplest, which is the share investment portfolio. So as you can see here to the right, we've got $350,000 to invest. New Zealand shares have been delivering 11.8% compounding since 1970 to 2015. So your return after 10 years of it being invested would be just under $1,070,000, which is a pretty good return. You'd be very happy with that. So over here, on the left, we've got property investment. Again, we've got the same amount, $350,000. We've got residential property return since 1970 of 9%, so that's slightly less than a share portfolio. But you're not going to have to buy a property, especially in Auckland, for $350,000. So you're going to need to take out a mortgage. And what I've done to keep this simple is you take out a mortgage of $650,000 and you buy an investment property for $1 million. After 10 years, with a compounding annual return of 9%, you'd have just over $2.3 million would be the value of your property. So if you take off your mortgage of $650K, we've just kept it interest only to keep it simple. If you take off your interest costs, that's 5% interest only, $325K, but you add back your rent at $700 per week of $364K, you're left with a return of $1.4 million. Now there are some other expenses that you need to account for when you purchase a rental property, like accountancy, property management, property maintenance, rates and insurances. Those are all relatively minor expenses compared to these ones. But what you're left with after 10 years, you're left with an annual return of 40%. So if you include those other expenses that I talked about, that's a pretty impressive return. Now the reason why you've got such a big return compared to a share portfolio is because you've leveraged. And that's a fancy word for saying you've used other people's money to buy an investment. Your return on your initial investment of $350,000 has been 40% per year. So that's the advantage of buying a property and investing in property versus a share portfolio. You could borrow money to buy a share portfolio and you would have a greater return as well, but not many banks will lend you money against the share portfolio, if any. So this is a really good option, especially if you're younger and looking to accumulate wealth. In terms of property investment delivering an income, right at the very minute, with yields of 2.1%, there are better options. But as with anything, when it comes to investing, when you receive a high return, usually that comes with high risk. So that's going to be in my next video clip, the risks of investing in property versus a share portfolio, a diversified share portfolio. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you shortly.